Hi guys, thank you for joining us today. My name is Topher. I am the lead cheese specialist here in the Broulims, and today we are going to show you how to build a simple cheese board. For those of you joining us at home, when you open up your kit that you have purchased through Broulims, you're going to notice some fantastic items. The first thing you're going to notice is your charcuterie board. This is a simple, plain, basic board with a magnetic tool holder. Comes with 4 basic tools that you need for any cheese platter. This is a flat knife. This is great for soft to semi-soft cheeses such as Gouda. This is your cheese fork. Your cheese fork is great for harder cheeses and also to serve. This is going to be your flat knife. Your flat knife is great for semi-hard to semi-soft cheeses, again, such as like a Gouda or a Swiss. This right here is your Parmesan knife. This actually also works as a regular serving knife. This is wonderful for hard cheeses such as Parmesan. So now let's look at some of the cheeses that come inside your bag. First, we have a President Brie. This is a plain, simple Brie that is very mild in flavor and very kind of basic, so it kind of gives people an idea or an introduction into Brie. Next, we have the Yancey Steakhouse Onion Cheddar, which is a wonderful cheese. It has a great onion flavor to it. Next, we're going to go into the Beehive Sea Hive Cheddar. This is from Utah. Next, we'll go into a Dill Havarti. And then finally, we're going to use the Bella Vitano cracked black pepper. For meat, we're going to be using the Dietz & Watson Genoa salami and the Dietz & Watson hard salami. And to round it off, we will be using green grapes, red grapes, strawberries, and the La Panzanella plain crackers. So the first step in making your charcuterie board after cleaning and sanitizing your board is the cheese placement. So first off, we're going to start with the Brie. The easiest way to do this is to cut it in half with a very sharp knife, cut it in half again, and again, and again. This way you get fairly uniform pieces and it is pretty cleanly cut. So when building your charcuterie board, you should try and always have some kind of movement into the board. It's visually appealing and it makes for a fun process. So I'm gonna start by just laying my squares or my triangles across the board into a pattern. Later on, you'll see that this pattern actually does come to life. So next we're going to move on to the Yancey Steakhouse Onion. So this is a fun little technique that I like to use. So I'm going to take the block right here. So from the wedge, I'm just going to cut down into as uniform slices as I can possibly get, creating some great long triangles. So when laying out this cheese, I like to kind of lay it out in a sunburst pattern. As I said, it gives movement and it actually adds an air of beauty to the board. So next we're going to move on to our Beehive Sea Hive. So one of the techniques that I like to use when doing the beehive cheese is actually making little matchsticks with it. As you continue to go up the cheese, up the wedge, just making little small cuts. Just little small cuts like this. It gives an opportunity for the cheese to be spread out amongst many people, and everybody gets to try just a little bit of the amazing beehive cheese. So what we do is we reassemble it all back together again. So we're just going to place it on the board like so. Kind of spread it out just a little bit and give it a little bit of an appeal. All right, so next we're going to move on to the Castello Havarti dill. So one of the things I like to do with my Havartis when they come in the blocks like this is I like to square them up. And that basically means just cutting off the circular ends or the curved ends. That way it gives me more of a square block to work with. Once again, we're just going to go down and cut small little pieces of it. This is nothing exciting, nothing fancy. Again, we're just trying to make the best use of the cheese that we have so that everybody that is over at our house to enjoy our wonderful charcuterie board has an opportunity to try every cheese. So to lay this on the board, we're going to do almost the same thing we did with the Sea Hive. We're just going to fan it out just like this. Now remember, those of you at home that are watching this is just simple techniques. This is how I like to do it. This is your own creativity and your own pattern. So take the techniques I show you today and make it your own board. Just because I show you how to do it doesn't mean this is the way that your board has to look ultimately in the end. So next we're going to move on to our final cheese. This is going to be the black pepper satori. This is an amazing cheese. It is an Italian-inspired cheddar. It's kind of like a cheddar parm mix with a wonderful black pepper. So for this one, I like to do a fun technique. We're gonna actually cut carefully down the rind of the cheese, very carefully, and get out the inners. Pull it apart as gently as you can. Then we'll take our little paring knife and we're gonna kind of come in here and pull down on the edges, creating that little rough look right there. This is actually a fantastic technique. It adds beauty and drama to any board, and it's actually really simple to do. So now that we have the body of the cheese, we're just gonna take our paring knife and we're just gonna stick it in and rotate. Turn it in and rotate. Turn it in and rotate. This is gonna give us wonderful chunks of cheese. Your guests are gonna absolutely love this technique. I'm just gonna take it and turn it, take it and turn it. And as you see, we're getting some big chunks here. Now, those of you who are joining us at home, if you look at your cheese, you'll notice that there's little specks of pepper in there, and there's also little specks of what looks like maybe some oil. That's actually the great yumminess that's coming off that cheese. It's all about movement and placement, so we may need to move some of this brie over a little bit. Oh, look at that, the brie's nice and ripe. Oh, delicious. All right, so we're gonna move this brie over just a little bit. We're gonna place the whole entire rind of the black pepper right there on that board. Then we're gonna take all the little chunks that we just created and we're gonna spread them out on the board like so. But let's just make it fun. Let's make it festive. Make it beautiful. So now that we have our cheese all placed where we actually want it, we're gonna move into the fun part, and that is the meat. So first off, I'm gonna take a stack of hard salami. So the first technique I'm gonna show you is how to do the baby rosebud. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 3 pieces of our salami. This is our hard salami, remember. We're gonna fold it in half. And we're gonna start at this end and we're just gonna roll it, just rolling. Rolling, 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 just rolling. So now we got the center of the roast. Now we're gonna take 1 more piece of our hard salami. We're gonna fold it in half, wrap it around. We're gonna take another piece, fold it in half, and wrap it around. So now we're gonna take our rosebuds and we're gonna place them on the board. We're gonna start building our little garden right there. So those of you at home with us, if you look inside your kit, you'll see 2 4-ounce portion cups. So you're gonna take one of the portion cups and we're gonna start layering in the salami into the cup. Now this is the big rose, right? Because every garden has to have beautiful blooming roses. So you're just gonna start layering on. So I've done 3 to begin with. I'll take another row and overlap the seams of the first row. And we're just gonna keep doing that. We're just gonna keep layering it up, layering it up. Now, one of the techniques I have found that actually works really well with this is if you let your meat sit out for probably about 20 minutes and let it start to get this beautiful shine on it, it makes the meat so much more malleable and so much easier to manipulate. All right, so you can do as many rows as you want. I've done about 4 rows there, as you can see. All right, so I'm happy with that one. That one looks pretty good. So again, we just kind of layered it up. I'm gonna put up some of the open petals just to kind of give it a little more height and drama. All right, this is the good drama right here, not the bad kind. This is the good kind of drama we got going on. All right, so we're gonna take down 3 of them. We're gonna lay them side by side and fold them over. We're gonna sing our song, rolling, 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 rolling. All right. Because it is a smaller salami, you're gonna have a smaller middle. We're gonna do the exact same thing with our petals. We're gonna make sure that we don't go all the way to the end. We're gonna save a little bit from the end. We're gonna fold it over and take another one, do the exact same thing. Fold it, not quite all the way over, leaving a little bit of a gap. Wrap that around just like so. Stick it in the middle and zhuzh it out. There is your completed Genoa salami rose. We gonna gently pick them up. And you know what, friends? It's okay if it overhangs over on that cheese. That's perfectly fine. We're gonna put them right there at the very back of our garden. With that. And again, you're just gonna kind of readjust some things, making things a little pretty as we go along. All right, so now the next technique I'm gonna show you is what is called the waterfall. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2 pieces of our Genoa salami. We're gonna lay them up kind of like that. Go down, fold one end in and the other end in. There's our first little envelope right there. I'll show you one more time as we go a little bit slower. So we're gonna take 2 pieces of our Genoa salami. We're gonna fold it in half, like so. We are gonna pull this side to the middle, and then we'll pull this side to the middle just like that. And there's your envelope. All right, so one of the things that I found to be very helpful while I'm creating these envelopes, as I stick them into my stack, I kind of give them a little bit of pressure. That way they kind of all stick together. And then once you've got about 6 or 7 of them, you'll want to start placing them on your board to get an idea of where they want to go. So we're gonna place them right here. It's gonna look kind of like a hedge maybe for our roses. We're gonna start placing them inside the board. Now we're gonna go back and build up some more. So we're just gonna add these right on there to their friends. As you can see, we're starting to build that cute little chain up. So I'm gonna show you one of my favorite techniques now. This is called a horn. This is actually a very simple technique, but it's actually very elegant and it fills in space very well. So to do this technique, we're gonna take some hard salami. Yeah, at this point, you should still have a little bit left in your pack for those of you at home. So we're gonna take some hard salami. We're gonna take the length of the knife to just about the middle of the actual piece of salami. Sometimes as it gets warmer, you need to fluff it up a little bit. So you're just gonna start rolling. Again, this is all about rolling, rolling, rolling. I find it easier to finish the roll in my fingers. And I just keep rolling, and I just keep rolling, and I just keep rolling. There you have a beautiful finished horn. So now we got a little bit of space here. We're gonna add those to our board just to kind of fill in. These actually do make a wonderful filler as well. We're just gonna kind of stack them up just like that. Just like that, kind of make them a little pretty. All right, so we got about 6 or 7 of them there. So just enough to fill in a little bit of space. So now we're gonna move on to our final step. Oh, you caught me once again moving stuff around. This is the great thing about a charcuterie board. It doesn't have to stay the same. Just because you have the idea in your head as you start, doesn't mean that needs to be the finished product. Move it around, make it pretty. Give it some more movement. All right, so now we're gonna go into the final step of the charcuterie board. This is actually one of my favorite techniques and one of my favorite steps, is I'm gonna start off with some strawberries. So you can either leave them whole or you can cut them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut them in half today. I'm gonna just cut off the tops and just go straight down the center. I've got a couple of strawberries. We'll just do them all right now while we're standing here, chit-chatting away. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and place them on the board. And don't worry if you kind of bump into some of that cheese. I'll tell you what, this brie right here goes amazing with strawberries. It's absolutely beautiful with strawberries. Encourage your guests, hey, try the brie with the strawberry. It's beautiful. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and add our grapes. This has been a really fun adventure with you guys as we're getting closer to the end. I'm really glad that you all decided to join us. It means a lot. All right, so the grapes are just like everything else. They're kind of freeform in there. Make sure you pick the pretty grapes. You don't want anybody to say you're a terrible host or hostess feeding everybody gross grapes. Broulim's always tries to bring you guys the freshest produce we have and that we can find. All right, and our final step today is to pair our board with the original sea salt and olive oil La Panzanella crackers. And here is your completed charcuterie board, the highlight of any party. As I've shown you, it takes just a simple hour to do something as beautiful and as elegant as that. I want to thank you all for joining us today on what we hope will be a fun, new, exciting adventure. I would like to thank our sponsors, Beehive Cheese, Dietz and Watson Meats, and Wisconsin Cheese Growers.